Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about something I think a lot of people are interested in. We're going to be talking about habit-forming technology and you know how these products like social media apps and search engines get so embedded in our lives?
Yeah,
So to explore this, we're going to be looking at excerpts from Hooked, How to Build Habit-Forming Products by Nir Eyal.
it's a fascinating topic, and I think Ale provides a really a practical framework for understanding, how these products kind of get us hooked.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited to kind of dig into. One thing I read that was pretty mind-blowing is that like nearly half of our daily actions are actually guided by habits.
It's true. That's crazy.
Yes, right?
That's wild.
Yeah.
Habits form in the basal ganglia, and this part of the brain is like the autopilot.
Oh,
So it allows, our conscious minds to think about, other things. But it also means that, new products have to be significantly better to overcome our existing habits.
so we're creatures of habit and also creatures who are resistant to change.
Makes sense.
That makes sense. So how do companies create products that break through and become part of that, routine?
Yeah, well, that's where the hook model comes in. And this is a four-step process that many successful habit-forming products utilize.
I'm all ears. So what are the 4 steps?
So the four phases are trigger, action, variable reward, and investment. We'll go through all those
Okay.
in detail.
Yeah. Let's start with triggers. So what exactly do these triggers look like in the context of tech products?
Yeah, well, Nir Eyal actually uses a great example of a Stanford student who's hooked on Instagram. And, she doesn't even realize she's doing it. But whenever she experiences, certain feelings or wants to remember something, she instinctively opens the app.
So it's like a subconscious reaction.
Exactly. She's been conditioned to associate certain, you know, feelings and situations with Instagram. And, triggers can be external, like a notification or a button, or internal, like feelings of boredom or loneliness.
So external triggers are those like bright red notification badges that just are like screaming for our attention.
That's a great example. Or you think about a website like mint.com. They use a big, clear login button in their emails.
Yeah.
It's super obvious what action they want you to take.
And internal triggers, those are a little trickier to spot, right? Like
Yeah.
when you're feeling stressed and you suddenly crave just a mindless scroll through TikTok.
Precisely. Those negative emotions, boredom, loneliness, the fear of missing out, FOMO, are powerful triggers that drive us to seek relief, often, in the form of engaging with our favorite apps.
So it's not just about the trigger, right? The product also has to make it easy for users to take action.
Oh, absolutely. That's where the action phase comes in. For behavior to occur, you need motivation, the ability to do it, and a trigger. So let's say your phone rings, but you don't answer it.
Maybe I'm in a meeting or my hands are full, so that impacts my ability to actually answer the phone.
Exactly. Or maybe you just don't feel like talking to anyone,
Yeah.
right? Low motivation. So when it comes to products, simplicity is key. The easier it is to use a product, the more likely we are to engage with it.
So the user experience has to be seamless and intuitive.
Think about how the internet has evolved. Back in the dial-up days, it took forever to get online. Now everything is instant. The easier it became to access the internet, the more we used it. Companies are constantly striving to make their products as frictionless as possible.
So we've got triggers that grab our attention and then ease of action that encourages us to engage. But what keeps us coming back for more, that's got to be the variable rewards, right?
You got it. Variable rewards are truly, hook us. Think about slot machines.
Oh, yeah.
It's the anticipation of potentially hitting the jackpot that keeps people pulling that lever,
Yeah.
right? Our brains just love that element of surprise.
Yeah.
So how does this translate to tech products? Well, Eyal breaks down variable rewards into 3 categories. Rewards of the tribe, the hunt, and the self.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Let's hear about these rewards.
Okay, so rewards of the tribe.
Mm.
Tap into our social nature. That innate desire for connection and acceptance. So think about Facebook likes, upvotes on Reddit, retweets on Twitter.
I can definitely see how those are variable. You never know how many likes or comments you'll get.
Exactly. And that unpredictability keeps you coming back for more. And then there are rewards of the hunt, which are all about our, innate drive to seek information and resources. Think about, endlessly scrolling through Twitter or, searching for that perfect product on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely guilty of that. It's like a never-ending quest for something new and interesting.
And finally, there are rewards of the self. And these tap into our desire for mastery, competence, and completion.
Okay.
So think about leveling up in a video game or reaching inbox zero.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I love that feeling of accomplishment, even if it's something as simple as clearing out my inbox.
exactly. These little wins keep us engaged and coming back for more.
This is fascinating stuff. So we've covered triggers, action, and variable rewards. That leaves us with the final phase of the hook model, investment.
That's right. Investment is all about getting users to put something into the product, whether it's time, effort, data, or even money.
Okay.
And you know what's interesting?
What's that?
When people invest in something, they value it more. It's like the IKEA effect, right?
Hmm.
People love the furniture they build themselves, even if it's a little wobbly.
I've definitely experienced that. There's a sense of pride that comes with putting in the effort.
And that sense of investment makes users more likely to return to the product. It also plays a crucial role in loading the next trigger.
Okay. Now that sounds intriguing. Tell me more about loading the next trigger.
Essentially, when a user invests in a product, they're setting themselves up to be triggered in the future. Think about adding a task to your to-do list app. You're putting in a bit of effort, which makes you more likely to return to the app later, but you're also setting a trigger for the future. The app can now send you reminders, prompting you to re-engage.
So it's like a cycle that perpetuates itself.
Exactly.
Each investment leads to a new trigger, which leads to further engagement.
It's a brilliant strategy that, many successful products employ. AO breaks down investment into 5 categories: content, data, followers, reputation, and skills. But we'll have to dive into those in part 2.
Yeah, this is a lot.
Yeah.
We'll get into that next time. Okay, so last time we were talking about the hook model and we left off on investment. You were about to tell me more about those 5 categories of investment.
Yeah. So think about the different ways that we invest in products. Content is a big one. Every time you post a photo on Instagram or write a review on Amazon or add a song to your Spotify playlist, you're contributing content to the platform.
And that makes the platform more valuable, both for you and for other users.
Exactly. It deepens your connection and encourages you to come back for more. And then there's data. Think about setting up your preferences on a news app or inputting, dietary restrictions into a meal planning service.
Right.
The more data you provide, the more personalized and valuable that experience becomes.
And that personalization is such a powerful motivator. Makes you feel like the product is truly tailored to your needs.
Absolutely. And as you invest more data, you become more reliant on the product to deliver that personalized experience. And then we have followers. This is particularly relevant to social media platforms.
Oh, yeah. Building your audience on Twitter or gaining subscribers on YouTube, that definitely feels like an investment.
Right.
You're putting in the effort to connect with others and build a community.
And the more followers you have, the more invested you become in, maintaining your presence and engaging with your audience.
Right.
It becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. And what about reputation?
I'm guessing that ties into things like reviews and ratings.
Exactly. Think about, earning points for completing tasks on a language learning app or building up, your seller rating on eBay. These reputation systems tap into our desire for status and recognition.
Right. Like those gamified elements that make us feel good about our progress and keep striving for more.
Precisely. And finally, we have skill. This is all about investing the time and effort to learn how to use a product effectively. So think about mastering keyboard shortcuts in a design program or becoming proficient in a new video game.
So the more skilled you become, the more valuable that product is to you, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're unlocking new levels of functionality and enjoyment.
Exactly. And as you invest in developing your skills, you become more committed to that product. It's like you've earned a certain level of mastery that you don't want to give up.
Right.
Right.
This whole concept of investment is so clever. It's like companies are almost subtly encouraging us to build these little sunk costs into their products,
Right.
making it even harder for us to walk away.
That's a great way to put it. And remember, each of these investments also helps to load that next trigger.
Right.
It's all part of that brilliant cycle of engagement.
Now, you mentioned earlier that there are tons of real-world examples of the hook model in action. Could you walk me through a specific example?
Absolutely. Let's look at the Bible app.
The Bible app. I wouldn't have immediately thought of that as a habit-forming product.
It might seem surprising, but the creators of this app have very thoughtfully integrated the hook model to encourage regular engagement.
Interesting. Okay, I'm all ears. Break it down for me.
So the triggers can be both internal and external. For someone who's already religious, the internal trigger might be a desire to connect with their faith or seek guidance.
Okay.
The app provides a very convenient way to do that.
And an external trigger could be like a notification reminding them to read their daily devotional.
Right. Or even just seeing the app icon on their phone, right?
Right.
Once they open the app, the action phase comes in. The app makes it super easy to engage with the scriptures. You can choose different translations, adjust the font size, even listen to an audio version.
So they've really streamlined that user experience to make it as effortless as possible.
Exactly. Then there are the variable rewards. The app utilizes rewards of the self, offering that sense of accomplishment that comes from completing a reading plan or, deepening your understanding.
I see. So like those little milestones that make you feel good about your progress and encourage you to keep going.
Right, and it also taps into rewards of the tribe through features that allow users to share verses with friends or, discuss passages in groups.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Creates a sense of community and shared experience around the scriptures.
And finally, the investment phase. Users can highlight verses, add personal notes, or bookmark passages.
So it's all about personalizing that experience and making it more meaningful to them.
Exactly. And with each of these actions, users invest a bit more effort, further strengthening their connection to the app and loading the next trigger for future engagement.
This is such a fascinating example. It's amazing to see how the hook model can be applied to a product that's not traditionally seen as tech in the same way as like a social media platform.
It really highlights the power of these principles. The hook model can be applied to a wide range of products and services, even those with, seemingly altruistic intentions.
This brings up a question that I've been pondering as we've been talking. We've talked about, the mechanics of the hook model, but what about the ethical implications? Is there a downside to all of this?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a crucial question and one that we need to explore.
Yeah.
The potential for these habit-forming products to become too powerful is something we need to consider carefully.
Yeah. So last time we were talking about, that potential downside of all these habit-forming products. It does seem like we're constantly bombarded with notifications and updates and things that are vying for our attention.
It's true. While most people can manage their, tech usage,
Yeah.
there is a growing concern about tech addiction
Right.
and the potential for these products to become too powerful.
Yeah. So how do we find that balance? How do we enjoy the benefits of technology without, becoming overwhelmed or letting it control our lives?
Well, awareness is key, I think. The hook model isn't just a tool for companies.
Mhm.
It's also a framework for understanding our own behavior.
Mhm.
Once you know how the hook works,
Yeah.
you can start to recognize when you're being pulled in. And then you can make, more conscious choices about how you engage.
So it's about understanding the psychology behind these products and then using that knowledge to our advantage.
Exactly. Think of it like this. You wouldn't walk into a casino without understanding how slot machines work, right?
Right.
The same principle applies to technology. Once you understand the mechanics, you can make more informed decisions about how you interact with these products.
So what are some practical things that we can do to kind of manage our tech usage?
Well, there's a lot of simple strategies you can implement. Turning off notifications is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
That constant pinging can be a major source of distraction.
I've actually been trying to be more mindful about my notification settings, and it's amazing how much calmer I feel.
Right. You could also set time limits for certain apps. A lot of phones actually have built-in features for this. Or you can download third-party apps that can help you track and limit your usage.
I've heard of apps that will like actually lock you out of social media once you've hit your limit for the day.
Exactly. And even something as simple as being more intentional about when and why you're using your device can make a big difference. Ask yourself, am I reaching for my phone out of habit or because I genuinely need to use it?
So it's about taking back control and being more mindful of our choices.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about, demonizing technology. It's about finding that healthy balance and using these tools in a way that enhances our lives, not detracts from them.
Well, this has been a truly enlightening deep dive. I feel like I have a much better understanding of how these products work and also what I can do to manage my own, relationship with technology.
I'm glad to hear that. And, here's a final thought for you to consider. Nir Eyal argues that, habit-forming products are most successful when they tap into our existing desires and motivations.
Right.
So what does that tell us about ourselves? What are those core needs that are driving our behavior? How can we find, healthy and fulfilling ways to satisfy them?
Those are excellent questions, food for thought for sure. I'm going to be reflecting on those for a while. Thanks for joining me on this fascinating deep dive.